before we jump into all the Cowboys talk and linebacker breakdowns, let's address the buzz that's taken over NFL circles this week. ESPN just dropped their latest position rankings, and trust me, this one stirred the pot in a big way. We're talking about the linebacker group, a position that's usually filled with consistent names and familiar faces, but not this time. This year's rankings have people scratching their heads, raising eyebrows, and for Cowboys fans, maybe even throwing a little celebration, because what we saw was something very few expected. DeMarvion Overshown, yes, the same Overshown who played just 13 games last season, not only made the top 10 but earned some pretty insane praise along the way. And that's what we're diving into today. Now, let's first take a step back and understand how these rankings are built. ESPN pulls in votes from a wide range of NFL decision makers, head coaches, coordinators, front office staff, scouts, and personnel. Guys, it's not just one dude behind a keyboard throwing darts at a wall. These are people who watch film for a living. So when you see names rise or fall dramatically, it's not random. It's a reflection of how the league sees them. And this year, something stood out like a sore thumb: the level of disagreement. Only 3 linebackers appeared on 70% or more of the submitted ballots. That's incredibly low. Usually when we're talking about top 10s, especially at linebacker, there's a lot more consensus. You'll have 7, 8, sometimes 9 players that everyone agrees belong in the mix. But here, 32 different linebackers received at least 1 vote. That's literally an average of 1 per team. Translation? Nobody knows exactly how to rank these guys right now, and that includes the experts. One AFC executive summed it up pretty well, actually. He said the linebacker group this year just isn't elite. A lot of the vets are aging out, and the younger players haven't fully stepped up to claim the spotlight. And when that happens, what you get is exactly what we're seeing now. Rankings that fill all over the place. You got guys who are ranked as high as number 4 on one ballot and didn't even appear on another. Outside of Fred Warner and Roquan Smith, who seem to be the only true locks, everything else felt like a total free-for-all. But that's also what made Overshown's placement so interesting. Let's get into the actual list for a moment. Unsurprisingly, Fred Warner is at the top. Not a single voter had him below second. Honestly, he should have been the unanimous number 1, but you know how it is. Someone always has to be different. Roquan Smith came in right behind him at number 2. Then you've got guys like Nick Bolton, Frankie Louvu, Tremaine Edmonds, and Levante David filling out the next few spots. But then, boom, there's DeMarvion Overshown cracking the top 10, landing at number 9 overall. Some voters had him even higher than that, going as far as slotting him at number 4. That's not just impressive. That's borderline shocking when you consider he played fewer than a full season's worth of games. I'm not going to lie to you. I did not expect Overshown to be on this list at all. I figured he might show up in a couple of honorable mentions, or maybe sneak into the top 20 if people were feeling bold. But top 10? That's a big deal. And while you could argue it's premature, the fact that he made it says a lot about how he's been perceived around the league. This isn't just Cowboys fans hyping up their own guy. These are rival coaches and front office staff admitting, yeah, this kid's got it. Now, to be fair, 13 games is a small sample size. It's not easy to gauge long-term value from what amounts to less than a full season of work. But Overshown clearly made a lasting impression. He played fast, he played aggressive, and most importantly, he played smart. There's a difference between just being athletic and actually understanding the game, and from what we saw, Overshown is starting to figure it out. That learning curve that slows a lot of young defenders down, he was beating it fast. Let me share a quote from one of the anonymous NFL personnel execs who voted in this ranking. When asked about Overshown, he didn't hold back. He called him absolutely amazing, which again might sound like hyperbole, but that was the word. Amazing. Another veteran defensive coach described Overshown as one of the most athletic linebackers I've ever seen and said he can completely take over a game. That's not just good. That's superstar territory. And while we've seen plenty of players flash early only to disappear later, there's something different about the way Overshown goes about his business. He's not just relying on raw speed. He's processing, he's adjusting, he's growing. What really jumps off the page with Overshown is how he uses his athleticism in real time. Some players look great in shorts and t-shirts, They run a blazing 40, they jump out of the gym, and then once the pads go on, everything slows down. Not Overshown. If anything, he looks faster in full gear. The term play speed gets thrown around a lot in scouting circles, and Overshown defines it. He flies around the field, but with purpose. He's not just running for the sake of it. He's reading, reacting, and arriving with bad intentions. Physically, the guy's a freak. He measured in around 6'2", a little over 225 pounds, and ran the 40 in under 4.6. His combine agility numbers weren't eye-popping, but on tape, it doesn't matter. He's explosive. He closes space in an instant, sometimes almost too fast. There were a few moments last season where he overran a play because he was just moving that quickly. But those are the kinds of mistakes you can live with because they're correctable. The raw ability is undeniable. And here's the thing. That really sets this ranking apart. Overshown isn't just sneaking into the top 10 because of potential. He produced. In just 13 games, the guy racked up 90 tackles. But it wasn't just the volume. It was the quality of the plays. We're talking 5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 4 pass breakups, a pick, a forced fumble, and a recovery. He was everywhere, and not in the pile jumper kind of way. This wasn't a situation where he's getting credit after someone else makes the play. Overshown was often the first guy there, initiating contact, blowing things up, and setting the tone. If it wasn't Micah Parsons flying in off the edge, it was Overshown closing from the second level. There was also a stat from ESPN that I thought was just flat out fun. Overshown led all top 10 linebackers in average distance traveled on tackles, over 19 yards. That means, on average, he ran 19 yards to get to the point of contact. That's not the same as the tackle happening 19 yards. Downfield, to be clear. It's about how much ground he covered to get there. And that's a fantastic indicator of his sideline-to-sideline range. Not many linebackers can make that kind of impact from anywhere on the field. Overshown can. Now, with all that said, it's not all sunshine and roses. There are still some concerns. One coach brought up a couple of areas where Overshown needs to improve. Zone awareness and disengaging from blocks. According to this coach, Overshown is great in man coverage against running backs and tight ends. But when he drops into zone, his feel for spacing isn't quite there yet. That's not unusual for young linebackers, by the way. Zone coverage is all about an anticipation and vision. It's about knowing where the routes are developing before they even get there. That takes reps. That takes film study. And that takes time. The other knock was on his ability to shed blocks. Overshown is great at slipping around him using quickness, but when an offensive lineman gets hands on him, it can be a problem. That's part of the trade-off when you're dealing with a lighter linebacker. He's not the old school downhill thumper who's going to meet a guard in the hole and win the collision every time. That's not his game. And frankly, it doesn't need to be. The league is changing. Speed matters more than ever. Versatility matters, and Overshown checks both those boxes. What's most exciting, though, is how much room he still has to grow. That same defensive coach mentioned earlier noted that Overshown was starting to get it as the season progressed. You could see the game slowing down for him. You could see him trusting his instincts more, and that's where it all starts to come together. When a player with elite physical tools starts understanding the mental side of the game, that's when stars are born. But of course, there's one giant question mark hovering over all of this. The injury. Overshown suffered a brutal knee injury late last season. We're not just talking about a simple ACL tear here. This was a multi-ligament situation. ACL, MCL, PCL, the works. It was ugly. By all accounts, the damage was extensive, and that means the road back is going to be long and difficult. Overshown already came back once from a serious knee injury, so there's hope. But this one was worse, and it happened later in the year. If we're being realistic, best case scenario probably puts his return somewhere around Thanksgiving. And even then, it's going to take time for him to fully regain form. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers are swirling in the NFL community about a possible move that could shake up the defensive landscape of the Dallas Cowboys. Rumors suggest that the Cowboys are closing in on an agreement with talented safety TALANOA HUFANGA, aiming to bolster their defensive backfield ahead of the next season. While nothing has been officially confirmed, sources close to the team hint that Dallas is eager to secure HUFANGA's services as a strategic move to strengthen a defense that has shown flashes of brilliance, but also areas in need of reinforcement. TALANOA. HUFANGA, known for his versatility and playmaking ability, has been on the radar of several teams this offseason. His knack for reading offenses, combined with his physicality and ball-hawking skills, make him a coveted player in today's pass-heavy NFL. For the Cowboys, who have been working hard to elevate their defense to match their offensive firepower, adding HUFANGA could be a game-changer. The move would not only add depth, but could also bring a new level of dynamism to their secondary, helping to cover elite receivers and support against the run. The Cowboys' defense has experienced ups and downs recently, and many analysts have pointed out the need for a more consistent and disruptive presence in the secondary. HUFANGA's potential arrival could be the answer, injecting youth and energy into a unit that must perform at the highest level if Dallas wants to contend seriously in a fiercely competitive division. Fans have been eager for moves that show the front office's commitment to building a balanced team, and this rumored signing seems to fit that narrative perfectly. Of course, such a deal comes with questions. How will HUFANGA fit into the Cowboys' defensive scheme? Will he be able to replicate or even exceed the performance he's shown with his previous team? And what does this mean for the current players in the secondary who might find themselves competing for their roles all over again? These questions add fuel to the fire of speculation as everyone awaits official word from the Cowboys organization. The deal materializes, it could send a strong message to the rest of the league. Dallas is not just focusing on offensive stars, but is determined to build a defense that can shut down opponents and control the game. The Cowboys have the resources and the vision to make bold moves, and locking down a player like HUFANGA would certainly fit into that plan. While it remains a rumor for now, the buzz is enough to get fans and analysts alike talking about the next chapter in the Cowboys' defensive story. As training camps approach and free agency buzz heats up, all eyes will be on Dallas to see if this potential signing becomes reality. For now, the possibility of TALANOA HUFANGA joining the Cowboys remains one of the most intriguing rumors circulating, and it could be the defensive boost the team needs to climb back to the top. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.